Hi, this is a video about slope-intercept form of a line. Every time that I write an equation using slope-intercept form, I use the following equation, and that's y equals mx plus b, okay? Where m is your slope and b is your y-intercept, okay? Now remember, your slope is a measure of steepness, and your y-intercept is where your line crosses the y-axis. Okay, and this is also your starting point. Okay? All right, now the last thing about slope, remember we have four kinds of slope. We have a positive slope, we have a negative slope, we have a zero slope, and we have an undefined slope. So let's look at graphing a linear equation using slope-intercept form. Okay, so if I wanted to graph this equation, y equals 2/3 x plus 4, I have to first identify my slope m and my y-intercept b, okay? So my slope m is my number that's in front of my x, okay? That's going to be the number 2/3, okay? And then my y-intercept is 4. Now remember that this number here is my starting point. Okay, and I want to locate 4 on my y-axis. So I'm going to start at my origin, which is right here. I'm going to count up to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And right here is where I'm going to plot my first point. All right, so I plot that point, and then I use my slope to make more points. Okay, and I'm going to use my rise over run of up to over 3 to do that. So I'm going to start here, and I'm going to go up 1, 2, and then over 1, 2, 3, and plot a point for my next value, another point on that line. And I can continue that, or I can go in the other direction and go down to 1, 2, and then go over 1, 2, 3, and plot a point here. Okay? In any case, what I have is I have a line on a graph, and this is the equation y equals 2/3 x plus 4. And again, all I'm doing is finding my starting point and then using my rise over run to develop new points. Okay, so this is my starting point of 4, all right, and using my slope to generate more points. Okay, let's graph another one. And again, I want to find my slope and I want to find my y-intercept. Now remember, my slope is the number in front of my x, that's negative 1/3. And then my y-intercept is the value of negative 2. Okay, so again, this point right here is my starting point. Okay, and I'm going to plot the point negative 2 on my y-axis. I'm going to make sure I label this x and y. And then I'm going to use my slope of negative 1/3 to generate new points. Now remember, we've got four kinds of slope. We have a positive slope, we have a negative slope, zero slope, and undefined slope. So because I'm negative, I want to be going in this direction here, all right? So I'm going to go down 1 to the right 3. So down 1 to the right 3 is going to plot my point here. Okay, and again, all I'm doing is taking from this point, go down 1, move over 1, 2, 3. And I can go the other direction as well and go up 1 to the left 3 and plot a point here. And this is my equation, okay? Or line, rather. All right, so that's just the graph of this line that is represented by this equation. Okay, on these examples, I'm just going to graph the line y equals 2. Now, this may seem like a very confusing thing to graph, but it's really simple. Whenever you have the graph of y equals a number, you locate that point on the y-axis. And at this point, y is equal to 2, and all that is a horizontal line through 2. All right? And the slope on this is a slope of 0. Now, on the other one, the graph of x equals negative 2, what I want to do is I want to locate the point negative 2 on my x-axis. And that's simply just going to be this point here, and that's going to be a vertical line through the x-axis. And the slope here is undefined, okay, going straight up and down. Okay, on this next part, what I want to show you is how if I change the slope and the y-intercept of this line, how that changes what happens on the graph. Okay, so what I did, I just put in a generic equation here of a line, and I can change the values of my slope and change the values of my y-intercept. So as I do this, what you'll notice is I'm increasing the slope. And so as the slope increases, the line gets steeper, okay? Notice how when it becomes negative and it goes way negative, it gets really steep, all right? So the next thing I'm going to affect is the y-intercept. And so if the y-intercept increases, all that does is it moves the line up. And if I decrease my y-intercept, I move that line down. Okay, and then if I just hit play on both of these, then all of a sudden the line just goes haywire and it starts to move. So as I move the slope, the line gets steeper or less steep, and if I move the y-intercept, it moves the line up and down. Okay, so in conclusion, the slope is a measure of steepness, okay? The bigger the slope is, the steeper the line, okay? And that can go both positive and negative. The y-intercept, that's where the line crosses the y-axis. Changing this will move the line up or down, okay? So please reach out if you have any questions. I enjoyed making this video. We'll see you soon. Bye.